30 seconds. That's how long she had. A little girl in a torn pink dress, bruises on her arms, terror in her eyes, and her hand raised high palm open, fingers spread. The rescue signal. The predator dragging her toward the exit didn't see the Hells Angels biker watching from aisle 4. But she did. Their eyes met. She mouthed two words, "Help me." Marcus Ghost Brennan hadn't saved anyone in 20 years. Not his marriage, not his daughter, not himself. But in the next 5 seconds, everything changed. Subscribe now, comment your city below. Marcus Ghost Brennan walked into the truck stop for coffee. Black. No sugar. Same order for 20 years. The cashier didn't look at him. Nobody ever did. Not directly. They saw the leather vest first. The Hells Angels patch, the faded military tattoos crawling up both arms. They made their judgments and looked away. Ghost preferred it that way. He grabbed a cup, filled it, and headed toward the register. That's when he saw her. A little girl, maybe 5 or 6. Pink dress dirty and torn at the hem, blonde hair tangled and unwashed. She walked beside a tall man with a shaved head and a scar cutting across his left eyebrow. The man's hand was wrapped around her wrist, not holding, gripping. Ghost kept walking. Not his business, not his problem. Then the girl looked at him, and she raised her hand, palm open, fingers spread, thumb tucked across. Ghost stopped dead. He knew that signal. His daughter Lily had shown him a video about it years ago, back when she still talked to him. Back before the drinking, back before the divorce papers, back before she'd said those words that still echoed in his skull every night. "You're not my father anymore." The signal meant one thing: help me. I'm in danger. I can't speak. Ghost's eyes locked on the girl. She didn't blink. She didn't wave. She held that hand steady, her lips pressed tight, her whole body trembling. The man noticed Ghost staring. His grip tightened. The girl winced. "Emma," the man said, "let's go." He yanked her toward the door. Ghost's coffee cup hit the floor. Hey, the man kept walking. "I said, hey." Ghost's voice carried, loud enough for the whole store to hear. The man stopped, turned slowly. His eyes were flat, dead, like a shark's. "What?" Ghost closed the distance. 10 feet? 8, 6. "The girl, she okay?" "She's fine." "Didn't ask you, asked her." The man's jaw tightened. "She's my daughter. She's throwing a tantrum. Mind your business." Ghost looked at the girl. Emma. Her face was pale, tear tracks cut through the dirt on her cheeks, and her hands still raised at her side, fingers still spread. "What's your name, sweetheart?" Ghost asked softly. She opened her mouth. Nothing came out. "She doesn't talk to strangers," the man said quickly. "We're leaving." "No." The word hung in the air. "Excuse me." Ghost stepped closer, close enough to smell cigarettes and sweat. "I said no, you're not going anywhere until I know she's safe." The man's face twisted. "Who the hell do you think you are?" "Nobody special. Just a guy who noticed a scared little girl giving a rescue signal. You know what that signal means?" The man's eye twitched, just once. But Ghost caught it. "I don't know what you're talking about." "Yeah, you do." The standoff lasted 3 seconds. Felt like 3 hours. Then Emma spoke. "He's not my daddy." Her voice was barely a whisper, broken and hoarse, like she hadn't used it in days. "He took me from the park. Please, please don't let him take me again." The man moved fast. He shoved Emma behind him and reached into his jacket. Ghost moved faster. He grabbed the man's wrist before the hand cleared the pocket, twisted hard, and drove his knee into the man's stomach. The man doubled over, gasping. Something metal clattered to the floor. A knife. 6-inch blade. Serrated edge. Ghost kicked it away and pinned the man against a shelf. Cans of soup crashed to the ground. "Emma, get behind the counter," Ghost commanded. "Now!" She ran. The man thrashed, trying to break free. "You're dead. You hear me? You're dead." "Maybe, but not today." Ghost pulled out his phone, hit the emergency button 3 times. GPS activated. Recording started. 911, what's your emergency? "Highway truck, stop off Route 93. I've got a man who just tried to pull a knife on me. He's holding a little girl against her will. She says he abducted her. Send units now. Sir, stay on the line. Can't, busy. He hung up. The store manager came running. Heavy woman, mid-50s, name tag reading Dolores. What in God's name? Call 911 again, Ghost said. This man kidnapped a child. Police are on the way, but keep calling. Dolores looked at Emma cowering behind the register, then at the man pinned against the shelf, then at Ghost. Sweet Jesus, she breathed and grabbed the phone. The man started laughing, low and ugly. You think this changes anything? You think you are some kind of hero? Ghost didn't answer. There are people looking for her, important people, and when they find out what you did, let them come. You don't understand. She's worth money. A lot of money, and you just made yourself a target. Ghost leaned in close. Good. I've been a target my whole life. One more won't make a difference. The man's smile faded. Who are you? Name's Ghost. And brother, you picked the wrong day to cross my path. Emma hadn't moved from behind the counter. Her eyes were locked on Ghost, watching his every move, like he might disappear if she blinked. He softened his voice. Hey, Emma, you're safe now. Okay, I'm not going to let anything happen to you. Promise. The word hit him like a bullet. His daughter had asked him that once. 10 years old, standing in the doorway of her bedroom while he packed his bags. Promise you'll come back, Daddy. He'd promised, and he'd lied, but not this time. Promise, he said. Sirens wailed in the distance. The man heard them too. His face changed, panic replacing arrogance. Listen to me, he hissed. You don't know what you're getting into. This goes deeper than one kid. There are operations, networks, people who will burn your whole world down. Keep talking. I'm serious. Let me go and I'll tell you everything. Names, locations, everything. You'll tell the cops. The cops can't protect you. They can't protect her. They're part of it. Ghost's eyes narrowed. Part of what? Before the man could answer, the front door burst open. 3 Hell's Angels walked in. Diesel came first, 6'4", 300 pounds, beard to his chest. Behind him, Raven, silent, watchful, a knife scar across his throat. And Preacher, oldest of the 3 gray ponytail eyes that had seen too much. Ghost, Diesel called out. Got your signal. What's the situation? Child abduction. This piece of trash grabbed a little girl, tried to pull a knife on me. Diesel's face went dark. He had 4 kids at home, 2 daughters. That right? He stepped toward the man, boots heavy on the linoleum. You like grabbing little kids? This is a misunderstanding. Shut up. Raven moved to block the back exit. Preacher positioned himself near the front. The man was boxed in. Cops are coming, Ghost said, but he was talking before you got here. Something about networks, operations. Said there are more kids. Diesel's expression shifted. More. That's what he said. Preacher stepped forward. His voice was calm, almost gentle. The voice of a man who'd counseled death row inmates and held dying soldiers. Son, I'm going to give you one chance, just a one. Tell us where those children are, and we'll make sure the police know you cooperated. Lie to us, and I'll let Diesel ask the questions. Understand? The man looked at Diesel, at those massive hands, at those dead eyes. He understood. There's a house, the man said, words tumbling out fast. Desert, about 40 miles east. Old ranch property. They keep kids there before transport. Transport where? Across the border, Vegas, sometimes overseas, depends on the buyer. Ghost felt his stomach lurch. Buyer, like these were products, like these were things. How many kids? 5, maybe 6 right now. They rotate. Who runs it? The man hesitated. Diesel cracked his knuckles. A guy named Mercer. Dominic Mercer. He handles the Western operations. But he's got bosses, people you don't want to know about. We'll take our chances. What else? The house, it's near a communication tower, big one with red lights. You can see it from the road. There's a gate, but it's usually unmanned during the day. Most of the muscle comes at night. Ghost looked at Emma. She was watching, listening, her little face pale but focused. Emma, is that true? Was there a tower with red lights? She nodded slowly. I saw it from the upstairs window. It blinked at night. The man's face went white. She was there. 2 days, Emma whispered. There were other kids. They cried a lot. A boy named Marcus, a girl named Sophie. They were scared. Ghost turned back to the man. What happens to the kids at that house? They get processed, photographed, documented. Then they get moved. Moved where? I told you, buyers, auctions, private sales. Diesel grabbed the man by the throat and lifted him off his feet. You're telling me people buy children like cattle? I'm just transport. I don't make the decisions. But you take the money, but then you look at these kids, these scared little kids, and you take the money. Diesel's grip tightened. The man's face turned red, then purple. Diesel. Ghost's voice was steady. Put him down. Give me one reason. Because Emma's watching, and because he's more useful alive. Diesel held on for another 3 seconds. Then he dropped the man, who crumpled to the floor, gasping. You're lucky, Diesel growled. So damn lucky. The police arrived in force. 4 cruisers, 8 officers. They secured the scene, separated the witnesses, started taking statements. Ghost told his story. Straight, simple, no embellishment. A detective named Martinez, sharp eyes, graying hair, no-nonsense attitude, listened without interrupting. You recognize the rescue signal from a video, Emma? Yes. And you decided to intervene? Yes. Most people wouldn't. I'm not most people. Martinez studied him for a long moment. The leather vest, the patches, the hard eyes. No, she said finally. I don't suppose you are. She handed him a card. We're going to need your cooperation going forward. That house he mentioned, we've been trying to find it for months. If your information checks out, you just blew open the biggest trafficking case in the state. I don't care about cases. I care about those kids. So do I, Mr. Brennan. So do I. So Sarah Sullivan arrived 20 minutes later. Ghost watched from across the parking lot as a sedan screeched to a stop and a woman threw herself out before the engine died. She was mid-30s, auburn hair, mascara streaked down her face. Emma. Emma broke free from the paramedic and ran. Mother and daughter collided in the middle of the parking lot. Sarah dropped to her knees, pulling Emma into her arms, sobbing so hard her whole body shook. My baby, oh God, my baby. Mommy, I was so scared. I was so scared. I know, sweetheart, I know. But you're safe now. Mommy's here. Mommy's got you. Ghost turned away. He didn't belong in that moment. That was for them. Private, sacred. But he couldn't stop the tears that slipped down his own face. He hadn't cried in years. Not since the divorce. Not since Lily had slammed the door and told him to never come back. But watching that mother hold her daughter, watching that little girl finally let go of all the fears she'd been carrying, something broke loose inside him. Something he'd kept buried for 7 long years. Preacher appeared at his swaddee. You okay? No. Didn't think so. They stood in silence for a moment. What you did today? Preacher said quietly. That matters. Doesn't bring back the years I wasted. No, but it might start something new. Ghost didn't answer. He was watching Sarah rock Emma back and forth, stroking her hair, whispering promises that everything would be okay. His phone buzzed. He pulled it out. Unknown number, Nevada area code. He answered anyway. Hello. Is this Marcus Brennan? Who's asking? A pause. Then a voice he hadn't heard in 7 years. Dad, it's Lily. Ghost's legs nearly gave out. Lily. I saw the news. The truck stop. That was you, wasn't it? The biker who saved that little girl. He couldn't speak. His throat had closed up. Dad, are you there? I'm here. The words came out broken, hoarse. I'm here, baby girl. I didn't believe it at first. I thought it was someone else. But then they showed the footage and I saw your face and Her voice cracked. I've been so angry at you for so long. But watching you protect that child, that was the dad I remember. The one from before. The one who used to make me feel safe. Lily, I'm so sorry. For everything, for all of it. I know you are. She was crying now. He could hear it. I'm not ready to forgive everything. Not yet. But maybe we could talk, really talk, start somewhere. Yes, God, yes, whenever you want, I'll be there. Tonight, after everything settles down. Tonight, absolutely. I'll call you. Okay, a shaky breath. And Dad? Yeah, I'm proud of you. What you did today, I'm really proud. The line went dead. Ghost stood there, phone pressed against his ear, tears streaming down his face. 7 years. 7 years of silence, of regret, of wondering if he'd ever hear her voice again. And now this. Diesel walked over, concern on his face. Ghost, you good? My daughter called. Lily, the one who... Yeah. Diesel broke into a rare smile. Well, damn, that's something. She saw the news, said she's proud of me. She should be. Hell, I'm proud of you, and I don't even like you that much. Ghost laughed. Actually laughed. It felt foreign in his mouth. We've got a job to do, he said, pulling himself together. That house, those kids. We can't wait for the cops to get their paperwork sorted. Diesel nodded. Already on it. Wrench is mapping every communication tower in a 50-mile radius. We should have coordinates within the hour. What about Big John? Called an emergency meeting. Church tonight at 9. Full chapter. Good. Ghost looked back at Emma, still wrapped in her mother's arms. She caught his eye and smiled. A small, fragile thing, but real. She raised her hand and waved. He waved back. Man. Sarah Sullivan approached him as the paramedics finished their assessment. Her eyes were red, her face blotchy, but there was steel underneath the exhaustion. You're the one who saved her. I just noticed the signal. She saved herself. Don't do that. Don't minimize what you did. Sarah grabbed his hand. Her grip was fierce. That man had my daughter for 2 days. 2 days of hell. The police had nothing. No leads, no hope. And then you, a complete stranger, you saw what no one else saw and you didn't look away. Anyone would have. No, they wouldn't. I've spent 48 hours begging people to help, calling every number, knocking on every door. You know what most people did? They looked at me with pity and told me to wait, to be patient, to let the system work. Her voice hardened. The system didn't save my daughter. You did. Ghost didn't know how to respond. Emma told me what you said to her, Sarah continued, that you promised she was safe, that you wouldn't let anyone hurt her. She squeezed his hand tighter. She believes you. A 6-year-old girl who just went through the worst experience of her life believes a stranger in a leather vest will protect her. Do you understand how rare that is? I meant it. I know you did. That's why I'm asking you something. Sarah took a breath. The police say there might be more children. At a house somewhere. They say they're going to investigate, but I saw their faces. It's going to take time. Time those kids don't have. What are you asking? Sarah met his eyes. Find them. Please, before it's too late. Jail. Ghost rode back to the clubhouse as the sun dipped below the horizon. The desert stretched out endless on either side. Red rock and scrub brush and empty sky. He'd ridden these roads 1,000 times, but tonight they felt different. Everything felt different. His phone sat heavy in his pocket. Lily's number saved again after all these years. A bridge rebuilt from ash. And in his mind, Emma's face. Her hand raised, her voice small and broken. He's not my daddy. He took me. How many others were out there? How many kids with no one to see their signals, no one to step in, no one to care? The Hells Angels clubhouse appeared in the distance, a converted warehouse on the outskirts of town. Bikes lined up outside, brothers gathered. Ghost pulled in and killed the engine. Big John Hammer Reeves was waiting by the door. 6'6", gray beard, arms like tree trunks. He'd been president of this chapter for 15 years. Rode with Ghost's father back in the day. Hell of a thing you did today, Big John said. Just getting started. I heard. Trafficking ring, kids held at some ranch out east. That's the intel. Big John nodded slowly. Church in 10 minutes. Everyone's here. We're going to talk about how we handle this. How we handle it is simple. We find that house and we get those kids out. And the men guarding them, Ghost's jaw tightened. They'll have a choice. Stand down or stand in our way. And if they stand in the way, then they'll regret it. Big John studied him for a long moment. Then he smiled. a rare thing from a man who'd seen too much to smile often. Your old man would be proud, Ghost. Real proud. Church was packed. 23 members seated around the long wooden table. Leather vests, weathered faces, men who'd lived hard lives and made harder choices. Ghost stood at the front, the map Wrench had pulled up, displayed on a screen behind him. 4 hours ago, I stopped a man from abducting a 6-year-old girl at the Route 93 truck stop. His name is Vincent Crane. He's part of a trafficking network operating in our territory. Murmurs around the table. Crane talked before the cops took him. There's a house 40 miles east, ranch property near a communication tower. They're holding children there, 5, maybe 6, processing them for transport and sale. Sale, one brother asked. Tank, youngest member, couldn't have been more than 25. Yeah, sale, like property, like livestock. The room went cold. Crane mentioned a name, Dominic Mercer. He runs the Western operations, connected to bigger players, organized, well-funded. Big John leaned forward. What are you proposing? We find that house tonight. We get those kids out. We hand the evidence to Martinez. She's the detective running the case, and we let the law handle the rest. And if the guards don't let us walk in, then we don't walk, we ride. Diesel slammed his fist on the table. I'm in. Raven nodded. Same. Preacher closed his eyes for a moment, then opened them. Those children are somebody's babies, somebody's whole world. We have the chance to bring them home. How can we not take it? One by one, hands went up around the table. Unanimous, Big John stood. Then it's decided. We ride at midnight. Full chapter. Armed and ready. He looked at Ghost. You're leading this. Your intel, your mission. Understood. And Ghost? Yeah. Bring those kids home. I'm all I'm. Ghost stepped outside to clear his head. The night air was cool, carrying the smell of sage and diesel. Stars scattered across the sky like spilled diamonds. His phone buzzed. A text from Lily. Still thinking about today. Can't stop. That little girl's face when her mom showed up. The way she looked at you. Like you were her hero. You are someone's hero, Dad. I forgot that was possible. Ghost typed back. I forgot too, for a long time, but I'm remembering now. 3 dots. Then, I want to see you, not just talk on the phone, actually see you. Can we do dinner this week? Maybe Thursday? His hands trembled. Thursday, yes, anywhere you want. There's a place in Reno. Mom used to take me there when I was little. Giovanni's. You remember. He remembered their anniversary spot before everything fell apart. I remember. 7 p.m. Don't be late. I won't. I promise. This time he meant it. Midnight came fast. 23 motorcycles thundered down the dark highway headlights, cutting through the desert blackness. Ghost rode at the front, Diesel on his left, Big John on his right. The communication tower appeared in the distance. Red lights blinking against the stars. Just like Emma had described. Ghost raised his fist. The convoy slowed. They killed their engines a quarter-mile from the ranch, moved in on foot. The house was dark except for a single light on the second floor. A white van sat in the driveway. No movement. Ghost signaled. Diesel and Raven circled left. Preacher and Tank took the right. The rest spread out, covering exits. Ghost approached the front door. Tried the handle. Locked. He stepped back. 1 kick. 2. The door splintered inward. Inside empty living room. Furniture covered in sheets. Smell of mildew and something else. Something sour. A man appeared at the top of the stairs. Young, scared, holding a pistol with shaking hands. Don't move. I'll shoot. Ghost didn't stop walking. I said don't. Diesel came through the back door, grabbed the man from behind and had him disarmed in 2 seconds flat. Where are the children? Ghost demanded. I don't know what you're... Ghost grabbed him by the collar. I'm not going to ask again. The man's eyes darted to a door at the end of the hall, padlocked. Ghost let him go, walked to the door. 1 shot from Diesel's pistol took out the lock. He opened the door. Stairs led down into darkness. The basement was cold. Concrete floor, bare bulbs, and in the corner, huddled together on thin mattresses, 5 children stared up at him with hollow eyes. A boy, maybe 8. 2 girls younger. Twin brothers who couldn't have been older than 4. Ghost's heart shattered. "Hey," he said softly, crouching down to their level. "Hey, it's okay. We're here to take you home." The oldest boy, Marcus Ghost, remembered Emma saying, spoke first. "Are you police?" "No." "Then who are you?" Ghost looked at his brothers standing in the doorway. Leather vests, tattoos, the kind of men parents warned their children about. "We're the guys who came to get you," he said simply, "and we're not leaving without you." The little girl, Sophie, started crying. Not from fear, from relief. "I want my mommy," she whimpered. "I know, sweetheart. We're going to find her. We're going to find all your families. But right now, I need you to be brave for just a little bit longer. Can you do that?" She nodded, tears streaming down her face. Ghost lifted her into his arms. She weighed almost nothing. "Diesel, get the others. Preacher, call Martinez. Tell her we've got 5 children recovered and we need ambulances at this location." "On it. And someone find out where Mercer is. This isn't over." The children were loaded into the van, their captor's van, now their rescue vehicle. Preacher drove, keeping his speed steady, his voice calm as he told them stories to keep them distracted. Ghost stayed behind with Diesel and Big John. "House is clear," Diesel reported. "Found documentation, photos, transaction records. This is going to blow the whole operation wide open." "Good. Make sure Martinez gets everything." "What about you?" Ghost looked at the house, at the basement where 5 children had been kept like animals. "I'm going to make sure this never happens again." Big John put a hand on his shoulder. "You did good tonight, Ghost. Real good. It's not enough. It's a start, and sometimes that's all we get." Dawn broke over the desert. Ghost sat on his motorcycle at the edge of the property, watching the police process the scene. Ambulances had come and gone. Children reunited with frantic parents. Tears and embraces and promises of safety. His phone buzzed. Lily again. "I heard what happened. The news is covering it. They're calling you heroes." "We're not heroes, just men who couldn't look away." "That's exactly what a hero would say." Ghost smiled despite himself. "Thursday," he typed. "Giovanni's, 7 p.m. I'll be there. I love you, Dad." 3 words. 3 words he hadn't heard in 7 years. "I love you too, baby girl. More than you'll ever know." He put the phone away and started his engine. The sun climbed higher, painting the desert gold. For the first time in longer than he could remember, Marcus Ghost Brennan felt like he was exactly where he was supposed to be. And this was only the beginning. The sun had barely risen when Ghost's phone rang. "Detective Martinez." "Brennan, we have a problem." Ghost was still on his bike, parked outside the clubhouse. He hadn't slept. Couldn't sleep. Every time he closed his eyes, he saw those children in the basement. Their hollow faces. Their empty stares. What kind of problem? "Vincent Crane is dead." Ghost went cold. "What?" "Stabbed in his cell 2 hours ago. Guard found him during morning check. Whoever did it knew exactly where to hit. Professional. Inside job. Has to be, which means Mercer has people in the department. We're compromised." Ghost gripped the phone tighter. "The kids, are they safe?" "For now, we've got them in protective custody at an undisclosed location. But Brennan, if Mercer can reach inside a jail cell, he can reach anywhere." "What about Emma Sarah Sullivan?" A pause. Too long. "Martinez." "What about Emma?" "Someone tried to get into their house last night. Sarah heard glass breaking and grabbed Emma. They're at the station now, but they can't stay there. Not if we don't know who to trust." Ghost was already starting his engine. "I'm on my way." "Brennan, wait. You're not a cop. You can't." He hung up. Sarah Sullivan sat in an interview room. Emma curled in her lap. Both of them looked like they hadn't slept either. When Ghost walked in, Emma's face changed. Fear melted into relief. "Mr. Ghost." She scrambled off her mother's lap and ran to him. Ghost knelt down and caught her small arms wrapping around his neck. "Hey, little one, you okay?" "A bad man tried to get in our house. Mommy grabbed me, and we hid in the closet." Ghost looked at Sarah. Her hands were trembling. "They broke the back window," she said, voice barely steady. "I had a baseball bat. I swung at him, but he ran. If I hadn't woken up when I did." "You did. That's what matters." "They're never going to stop, are they? These people, they're going to keep coming." Ghost stood Emma still clinging to him. Not if I stop them first. How the police can't even protect us. Someone killed their witness inside a jail cell. Inside. How do you fight that? You don't fight it alone. Sarah stared at him. What are you saying? I'm saying you and Emma need to disappear for a while. Somewhere safe, somewhere they can't find you. Where I have a job. Emma has school. I can't just... Sarah. Ghost's voice was firm but gentle. None of that matters if you're dead. The word hit her like a slap. Dead. She looked at Emma, who was watching them both with those two old eyes. Where would we go? I know a place, off the grid, protected. You'll be safe there until this is over. And when will that be? Ghost didn't answer, because he didn't know. Diesel was waiting outside the station, leaning against his bike. He straightened when he saw Ghost emerge with Sarah and Emma. They coming with us? Yeah, taking them to Martha's. Diesel nodded. Martha was his grandmother. 92 years old, sharp as a tack, lived on a ranch in the middle of nowhere. No address on file, no digital footprint, just an old woman with a shotgun and a mean streak. I'll ride ahead. Make sure the road's clear. Thanks, brother. Sarah looked between them, uncertainty written across her face. I don't even know you people. Why are you helping us? Diesel grinned. Because Ghost asked, and because we don't let kids get hurt. Not on our watch. He mounted his bike and roared off. Sarah turned to Ghost. Is everyone in your club like him? More or less, we're not what people think we are. What are you then? Ghost considered the question. Family, broken loud, sometimes stupid. But family, and family protects its own. We're not your family. You are now. The ride to Martha's took 3 hours. Sarah rode behind Ghost, her arms wrapped tight around his waist. Emma sat in the sidecar. Preacher had attached that morning goggles too big for her face, grinning despite everything. Martha was waiting on the porch when they pulled up. Gray hair pulled back in a bun, flannel shirt, jeans, and a double-barrel shotgun resting across her knees. So these are the ones, she said, looking Sarah and Emma up and down. Martha, this is Sarah Sullivan and her daughter Emma. They need to stay here for a while. How long's a while? Until it's safe. Martha snorted. Safe. Haven't heard that word used honestly in 60 years. She stood, shotgun cradled in one arm, and walked toward Emma. You like chickens, girl? Emma blinked. Chickens. Got 20 of them out back. Mean little things, but they lay good eggs. You help me collect them every morning. I'll teach you how to make biscuits. That'll make your mama cry. Emma looked at Sarah, who managed a watery smile. I think I'd like that. Good, it's settled. Martha looked at Ghost. You inside. We need to talk. Sarah started to follow, but Martha held up a hand. Just him. You and the girl get settled in the guest room. Second door on the left. Bathrooms across the hall. Hot water takes a minute. She walked inside without waiting for a response. Ghost found Martha in the kitchen pouring coffee into 2 chipped mugs. She handed one to him. Sit. He sat. Diesel told me what happened. The truck stop, the house, the children. She took a long sip of coffee. You did good, Marcus. Doesn't feel like it. Never does. That's how you know it matters. She set her mug down. Now tell me what you're not telling that woman out there. Ghost hesitated. Martha had known him since he was a kid, knew his father, knew all the secrets the club kept buried. Mercer's not going to stop. He's got connections everywhere. Police, politicians, maybe feds. We took 5 kids from him, cost him money, made him look weak. He's going to hit back hard. And you're the target. Me, the club, anyone who helped. Martha nodded slowly. So what's your plan? Find Mercer, end this. End it how now? Ghost didn't answer. Martha leaned forward. Marcus, look at me. He met her eyes. Your daddy was a good man, flawed like all of us, but good. He built this club on a code. We don't start fights, but we finish them. We protect the innocent. We stand for something. She paused. But he also knew when to stop, when to let the law take over, when to walk away. I can't walk away from this. I know you can't. I'm not asking you to. I'm asking you to be smart. Mercer wants you angry, wants you sloppy. Don't give him that. Ghost took a breath. What do you suggest? Martha smiled. That sharp, dangerous smile that reminded him why even Diesel was scared of her. Hit him where it hurts, not his body, his business, his reputation, his network. Tear it all down piece by piece until he's got nothing left. Then when he's desperate, when he makes a mistake, that's when you finish it. Ghost let the words sink in. You're scary, Martha. You know that? Honey, I've been scary since before your daddy was born. Now drink your coffee. It's getting cold. Ghost returned to the clubhouse that evening to find chaos. Big John was on the phone shouting. Diesel was pacing. Raven sat in the corner cleaning a knife with surgical precision. What happened? Ghost demanded. Big John hung up. His face was purple with rage. They hit us an hour ago. 3 of our boys were making a run up to Carson City. Mercer's people ran them off the road. How bad? Tanks in the hospital. Broken leg, cracked ribs, punctured lung. Spider walked away with cuts and bruises. Rico, Big John's voice caught. Rico didn't make it. The room went silent. Rico, 23 years old, joined the club right out of high school. Kid had a laugh that could fill a room and a heart too big for his own good. Gone. Ghost felt something cold settle in his chest. Not grief, not yet. That would come later. Right now there was only one thing, rage. Where's the car? Ghost asked quietly. What? The car that ran them off the road. Where is it? Diesel stepped forward. We tracked it, abandoned at a warehouse on the east side. Mercer's got a distribution hub there. Legit business on paper, auto parts. But we've always known it was a front. Then that's where we start. Big John shook his head. We can't just roll up on a warehouse. Not after what happened. The cops are watching us. One wrong move and we're all in cuffs. I don't care. You should care. Rico wouldn't want you throwing your life away. Rico's dead. Ghost's voice cracked. He's dead because of me. Because I couldn't leave well enough alone. Because I saw a little girl raise her hand and I thought I could actually make a difference. You did make a difference. 5 children are alive because of you. Emma Sullivan is safe because of you. And Rico is in a body bag. The room fell silent again. Ghost's hands were shaking. He could feel himself spiraling the same way he'd spiraled after Afghanistan, after the divorce, after Lily told him to never come back. But this time something was different. This time he had something to fight for. He took a breath, then another. Okay, he said finally. Kate, we do this smart. Martha's right. We don't give Mercer what he wants. We make him come to us. Big John studied him. How tuye? The documents we found at the ranch, transaction records, names, dates, we leak it, all of it. To every news outlet that'll listen. We make Mercer so toxic that his own people start turning on him. That could take weeks. Then we speed it up. Diesel, you still have that contact at the FBI, the one who helped us with the Nevada case. Diesel nodded. Agent Chen, she's solid. Call her. Tell her we've got evidence of a multi-state trafficking operation. Tell her we're willing to cooperate fully. Raven looked up from his knife. You're bringing in the feds. I'm bringing in everyone. This isn't about club pride anymore. This is about taking Mercer down before he kills anyone else. The room was quiet. Then Big John nodded. All right, we do it your way. But Ghost, if this goes sideways, it's on you. I know. Ghost stepped outside to clear his head. The night air was cold, but he barely felt it. His phone buzzed. A text from Lily. Still on for Thursday. He'd almost forgotten. The dinner, Giovanni's, the chance to rebuild something he'd destroyed. Still on, he typed back. Wouldn't miss it. Good, I have something to tell you. Something important. Tell me now. No, in person. Thursday. Ghost stared at the screen. Something important. What could she possibly another text? Don't worry, it's not bad, just big. I'll explain everything. Okay, Thursday. He put the phone away and looked up at the stars. Rico was dead. Mercer was hunting them. His daughter had something big to tell him. And somewhere out there, children were still being sold like cattle. Ghost lit a cigarette and took a long drag. One thing at a time. The funeral was on Wednesday. Rico's mother stood at the graveside supported by her sisters. She was a small woman, barely 5 feet tall, but she had the same laugh as her son. Ghost could hear it echoing in his memory. The club stood in formation behind her. Full colors, silent. When it was time, Ghost stepped forward and placed a hand on the casket. Rico was one of the good ones, he said, voice all rough. He didn't join this club for glory or power. He joined because he wanted to belong to something bigger than himself. And he found it. He found brothers who loved him, a family that would die for him. Ghost paused. We couldn't save him. That's something I'll carry for the rest of my life. But I can promise you this, his death will not be meaningless. The people who did this will answer for it, every single one of them. Rico's mother looked up at him. Her eyes were red but steady. You find them, she said. You find them and you make them pay. Yes, ma'am, I will. After the funeral, Ghost rode alone. No destination, no plan, just the road and the wind and the weight of everything pressing down on his shoulders. He thought about Emma, safe at Martha's ranch, learning to collect eggs and make biscuits. He thought about Sarah, the way she'd looked at him when he promised to keep them safe, like she wanted to believe him but couldn't quite let herself. He thought about Lily. Thursday, 2 more days. Whatever she had to tell him, it had to wait. He thought about Rico, 23 years old, whole life ahead of him, gone. And he thought about Mercer, a man he'd never met, a monster who traded in children and killed without remorse. Ghost pulled over at a rest stop and sat on a picnic bench, staring at nothing. His phone rang, blocked number. He answered anyway. Mr. Brennan? A voice he didn't recognize. Smooth, cultured, cold. Who is this? You know who this is. Ghost's blood turned to ice. Mercer. Very good. I wanted to introduce myself properly. We seem to have gotten off on the wrong foot. You killed one of my brothers. Regrettable, but necessary. You took something from me, Mr. Brennan, something valuable. I had to respond in kind. Those were children, not property. Everything is property, Mr. Brennan. Everything has a price. You simply haven't learned that yet. Ghost's grip tightened on the phone. What do you want? Straight to business. I appreciate that. A pause. I want you to stop. Walk away, take your club and your misguided heroics and disappear. Do that and no one else has to die. And if I don't, then everyone you love will suffer. The Sullivan woman and her daughter. Your club brothers. And that estranged daughter of yours, Lily, isn't it? Social worker in Reno. Lives alone in an apartment on Maple Street. Takes the bus to work every morning at 7:15. Ghost stopped breathing. You touch her, and I will burn your entire world to the ground. Brave words, but we both know how this ends. You're one man, Mr. Brennan. I'm an empire. You can't win. Watch me. Ghost hung up. His hands were shaking so badly he could barely dial, but he managed. Diesel, get to Lily's apartment, now, Maple Street in Reno. Don't let her out of your sight. Ghost, what's going on? Mercer called. He knows about her. He knows where she lives. He threatened her. I'm on my way. Ghost started his bike and tore out of the rest stop heading north. Reno was 3 hours away. He made it in 2. Lily's apartment building was a modest 3-story complex in a quiet neighborhood. Ghost saw Diesel's bike parked out front and felt a fraction of the tension leave his shoulders. He found them inside. Lily sitting on her couch, pale and shaken. Diesel standing by the window watching the street. Dad, Lily jumped up and ran to him. He caught her, held her tight, breathing in the scent of her hair. His daughter, his little girl. Safe. What's going on? She demanded, pulling back. This giant, scary man shows up at my door and tells me I'm in danger and I need to stay inside. Then you come roaring up like a maniac. I'll explain everything. But first, are you okay? Has anyone approached you? Followed you? No, I don't think so. Dad, you're scaring me. Good, you should be scared. He took her hands. Lily, I've gotten involved in something. Something bad. I thought I was helping, but I made some very dangerous people very angry. And now they're threatening everyone I care about. What kind of people? Traffickers. They take children and sell them. I stopped one of their operations, rescued some kids. Now their boss wants revenge. Lily stared at him. This is about that little girl, isn't it, Emma? The one from the news. It started with her, but it's bigger now, much bigger. And they threaten me. Yes, she was quiet for a long moment. Then she did something Ghost didn't expect. She laughed. Dad, do you know what I do for a living? I'm a social worker. I deal with dangerous people every single day. Parents who'd rather hurt their kids than lose them. Abusers who threaten to kill me if I take their victims away. I've been stalked, harassed, and threatened more times than I can count. This is different. How about that? Because these people have resources, connections. They killed someone in jail just to send a message. Lily's face sobered. Then we fight back. No, you hide. You stay out of sight until this is over. Hide where? I know a place, a ranch, off the grid. You will be safe there. Dad, please, Lily, his voice cracked. Please, I just got you back. I can't lose you again. She studied him, her father, this broken man who'd hurt her so badly, who'd chosen alcohol over family, who'd disappeared when she needed him most, but also the man who'd saved a little girl from a monster, who'd risked everything to rescue children he'd never met, who'd ridden 3 hours at breakneck speed just to make sure she was safe. Okay, she said finally. But Dad, when this is over, we're going to have that dinner, and you're going to tell me everything. No more secrets. No more secrets. She hugged him again, tighter this time. I love you, Dad. Even when I hated you, I loved you. I love you too, baby girl, more than anything in this world. The ride to Martha's was quiet. Lily rode behind Ghost, her arms wrapped around him the way Sarah's had been 2 days before. Behind them, Diesel followed on his own bike. When they pulled up to the ranch, Sarah was on the porch with Emma. The little girl's face lit up. Mr. Ghost, you're back. She ran down the steps and threw herself at him. Ghost caught her, lifting her up. Hey, little one, miss me? Martha taught me how to make biscuits. They were a little burned, but she said that's okay because practice makes perfect. That's true. Practice makes perfect. Lily climbed off the bike, looking around at the ranch, at Sarah, at the little girl in her father's arms. Dad, she said slowly, is this her, Emma? Yeah, this is Emma. Lily walked over, crouched down to Emma's level. Hi, Emma. I'm Lily. I'm Ghost's daughter. Emma's eyes went wide. You're the one he talks about. He said you were the best thing that ever happened to him. Lily's breath caught. She looked up at Ghost. He said it all the time. He showed me a picture. He said he was sorry he hurt you. He said he wished he could go back and do everything different. Lily stood slowly. Tears were streaming down her face. Dad, it's true, every word. She crossed to him and buried her face in his chest. I'm sorry I didn't call sooner. I'm sorry I stayed angry so long. You had every right to be angry. I was a mess. I failed you. But you're not that man anymore. I could see it. The way Emma looks at you, the way these people trust you, you've changed. I'm trying to. That's all I ever wanted. Sarah watched from the porch, Emma's hand in hers. She seems nice, Emma said. Is she going to stay with us? Sarah looked at the father and daughter embracing in the dusty driveway, at the massive biker standing guard nearby, at the old woman in the doorway with a shotgun and a knowing smile. Yeah, baby, she said softly. I think she is. That night, Ghost sat on Martha's porch watching the stars. His phone buzzed. Big John. Agent Chen came through. FBI's opening a full investigation. They've got warrants for Mercer and half his operation. Martinez is working with them. The noose is tightening. How long until they move? 48 hours, maybe less. Mercer will know. He's got people everywhere. Then we make sure he doesn't run. Big John paused. Ghost, there's something else. Chen found a file, a list of buyers, names you wouldn't believe, politicians, businessmen, even a couple celebrities. How high does this go? All the way to the top. This isn't just some regional operation, it's international. Mercer's just one piece of a much bigger puzzle. Ghost closed his eyes. He'd pulled on a thread thinking he'd unravel a small crime. Instead, he'd uncovered a hydra. What do? We do what we've always done. We protect our own. We take down the bad guys. And we don't stop until it's finished. And if we can't finish it, then we pass it on to someone who can. But Ghost, you started this. You lit the match. Whatever happens next, you're part of it, for better or worse. The call ended. Ghost looked at the stars for a long time. Then he went inside to get some sleep. Tomorrow the war would begin. Ghost woke to the sound of Martha's shotgun being cocked. He was on his feet before his eyes fully opened, hand reaching for the gun under his pillow. "Easy," Martha said from the doorway. "It's not an attack, but you've got visitors. 2 black SUVs just pulled up the drive. Feds. That'd be my guess. They've got that look." Ghost pulled on his boots and vest, moving quickly down the hall. Lily met him halfway, fear in her eyes. "Dad, what's happening?" "Stay inside. Keep Emma and Sarah away from the windows." "Are they here for you?" "I don't know. Just stay put." He stepped onto the porch as the SUVs came to a stop. 4 agents emerged, all wearing tactical vests. One of them, a woman with short black hair and sharp eyes, approached with her badge out. "Mr. Brennan, I'm Agent Chen. We spoke on the phone through your associate." Ghost relaxed slightly. "You could have called ahead." "Time-sensitive situation. We need to move now." "Move where?" "We've located Mercer's primary operation. Not a ranch this time, a compound, heavily fortified. He's consolidating his assets, which means he knows we're coming." "How many children?" Agent Chen's jaw tightened. "Our intel suggests at least 15, maybe more. He's preparing to transport them out of the country within the next 12 hours. 15 children. Ghost felt his stomach turn. "What do you need from me?" "Your knowledge of his network, the documents you recovered, and frankly, your reputation." "My reputation?" "Word spread through certain circles that the Hells Angels took down one of Mercer's houses. Some of his lower-level people are scared. They might talk to us, but only if they believe we can actually protect them. Having you involved sends a message." Ghost considered this. "You want me on the raid?" "I want you as a consultant. Officially, you'll be nowhere near the compound. Unofficially," she paused, "we could use someone who knows how these people think." "I'm not a criminal." "No, but you understand the criminal mind better than most of my agents. And more importantly, you've already proven you'll do whatever it takes to protect those kids." Ghost looked back at the house. Through the window, he could see Lily holding Emma, both of them watching with wide eyes. "Give me 5 minutes." Inside, Sarah was pacing while Martha stood guard by the back door. "What did they say?" Sarah demanded. "They found Mercer's main compound. He's got 15 kids there. They're moving to extract them." "Oh my God." "I'm going with them." Lily stepped forward. "Dad, no. You said you'd stay safe. You promised." "I promised I'd keep you safe. And the only way to do that is to end this. Today." "What if something happens to you?" Ghost took her hands. "Then you'll know I died doing something that mattered. Not drinking myself to death in some dive bar. Not running from my problems. But standing up for kids who had no one else." Lily's eyes filled with tears. "That's supposed to make me feel better." "No, it's supposed to make you understand." He pulled her into a hug. "I spent 7 years being a coward. Walking away from everything that mattered. I can't do that anymore. Not when there are children waiting to be saved." She held him tight. "You come back. You hear me, you come back." "I'll do my best." Emma tugged on his jacket. He looked down at her small, serious face. "You're going to save the other kids, aren't you?" "Like you saved me." "I'm going to try." "I knew you would." She reached into her pocket and pulled out something small. A tiny plastic angel, worn and faded. "I found this in the house where the bad man kept me. I was saving it for good luck, but I think you need it more." Ghost's throat tightened as he took the charm. "Thank you, Emma." "Bring them home, Mr. Ghost. Bring them all home." The convoy moved fast through the desert, kicking up dust clouds that could be seen for miles. Ghost rode in the lead SUV with Agent Chen studying satellite imagery on a tablet. "The compound's built like a fortress," Chen explained. 12-foot walls, armed guards, motion sensors. Mercer's been preparing for this day for years. "Then how do we get in?" "We've got a man inside, one of Mercer's guards who got cold feet after the ranch raid. He'll disbone the security system at us 100. We have a 90-second window." 90 seconds isn't much. "It's enough. We've drilled this. 3 teams. Alpha takes the main house. Bravo secures the perimeter. Charlie extracts the children from the holding facility." "And where will I be?" "With me. Overwatch. You spot anything we miss, you call it out. Ghost nodded. It wasn't what he wanted. He wanted to be in the thick of it, busting down doors. But he understood. He wasn't FBI. He was a liability they couldn't afford. His phone buzzed, a text from an unknown number. You think I don't know you're coming? I've always known. See you soon, Mr. Brennan. Ghost showed it to Chen. Her face went pale. He knows. Or he's bluffing, trying to shake us. Can you afford to take that chance? She grabbed his radio. All units be advised. Possible compromise. Target may have advance warning. Proceed with extreme caution. Static crackled. Then a voice, Alpha Team copies. We're still a go. Chen looked at Ghost. We're committed now. No turning back. Then let's finish this. They arrived at the staging point just before dawn. 40 agents in full tactical gear, checking weapons, reviewing assignments. The air was thick with tension. Big John was there too, along with Diesel, Raven, and Preacher. They weren't officially part of the operation, but Chen had given them a wide berth, understanding that these men wouldn't stay away, even if she ordered them to. Hell of a thing, Big John said, standing beside Ghost. Feds and bikers working together. Never thought I'd see the day. War makes strange allies. You ready for this? Ghost touched the angel charm in his pocket. As ready as I'll ever be. The radio crackled. Overwatch, this is Alpha. We're in position. Chen raised her binoculars, scanning the compound in the distance. Copy that, Alpha. Bravo. Bravo in position. Charlie. Charlie ready. Waiting on your go. Chen looked at her watch. 5:58. 2 minutes until the inside man killed the security system. All teams stand by. Ghost watched the compound through his own binoculars. It looked quiet. Too quiet. No movement on the walls. No guards visible. Something's wrong, he muttered. What do you see? Nothing. That's the problem. Where are the guard? Chen frowned. Maybe they're changing shifts. At exactly the time we're about to hit? That's a hell of a coincidence. Before Chen could respond, the compound exploded in light. Floodlights. Dozens of them turning night into day. It's a trap, Ghost shouted. Gunfire erupted from the walls. Alpha Team was pinned down, immediately taking fire from positions they hadn't anticipated. Men screamed. Radios crackled with panicked voices. All teams fall back. Fall back. But it was too late. Bravo Team had already breached the perimeter fence and was caught in a crossfire. Charlie Team, moving toward the holding facility, walked straight into an ambush. Ghost watched in horror as agents fell. These were good people, people trying to save children, and they were being slaughtered. We have to do something, he said. What, we're outgunned, outmaneuvered. Mercer knew exactly where we'd be and when. Well, then we changed the game. Ghost grabbed a rifle from the SUV and started running toward the compound. Brennan, get back here. He didn't stop. Diesel caught up with him 50 yards later, Raven and Preacher close behind. You crazy son of a bitch, Diesel panted. What's the plan? The children, they're still in there. While everyone's focused on the battle, we go in through the back. There is no back. Chen said the compound is sealed. There's always a back. Mercer's a businessman. He has an escape route. We find it, we use it. They circled wide, staying low, using the chaos as cover. Ghost's military training kicked in, move fast, stay quiet, trust your brothers. They found it 10 minutes later. A drainage tunnel hidden behind scrub brush, large enough for a man to crawl through. This is it, Ghost said. This is how he plans to get out. Or how he plans to move the kids, Preacher added grimly. They entered one by one, crawling through darkness and filth. Ghost's shoulders scraped against the concrete walls. The sound of gunfire faded, replaced by dripping water and their own ragged breathing. After what felt like an eternity, the tunnel opened into a basement, industrial, cold, and filled with cages. Ghost stopped breathing. Children, 15 of them, just like Chen had said, locked in wire cages like animals, dirty, terrified, silent. One of them, a boy no older than 8, looked up at Ghost with hollow eyes. Are you here to take us away? Ghost swallowed hard. I'm here to take you home. The boy's face crumpled. They said no one was coming. They said no one cared. They lied. Diesel was already working on the locks, his massive hands surprisingly gentle. Raven and Preacher took up defensive positions at the doors. We've got maybe 5 minutes before they realize we're here, Raven said quietly. Work fast. The locks were electronic. Diesel pulled out a multi-tool and started bypassing them one by one. Come on, he muttered. The first cage opened. A little girl, maybe 4 years old, stumbled out and immediately grabbed Ghost's leg, hiding her face. It's okay, he said softly. You're safe now. The second cage, the third. One by one, the children emerged, clustering around the bikers like they were the only solid things in a world of nightmares. Then Preacher's voice, sharp and urgent. Company. The door burst open. 3 guards, armed and angry. Raven moved like lightning. The first guard went down before he could raise his weapon. The second fired wild bullets sparking off the concrete, and Diesel tackled him into the wall. The third aimed at the children. Ghost didn't think. He just moved. He hit the guard at full speed, driving him back through the doorway. They crashed into the hall, grappling for the gun. The guard was younger, stronger, but Ghost had something he didn't. Desperation. The gun went off once, twice. Then Ghost wrenched it free and brought the stock down on the guard's skull. The man went limp. Ghost, Diesel called. We've got to move. They formed a protective circle around the children, moving through the corridors as fast as the small legs could carry them. The sounds of battle were closer now. Explosions, screams. They emerged into a courtyard just as a helicopter descended overhead. Mercer, Ghost could see him through the open door, dressed in an expensive suit, watching the chaos below. With cold satisfaction, their eyes met. Mercer smiled, and then he raised a radio to his lips. Kill them all. The courtyard erupted in gunfire. Ghost shoved the children behind a concrete barrier, shielding them with his body. Bullets sang past his head. One grazed his arm, drawing blood. We're pinned, Hushar, Diesel shouted. Hold position. Protect the kids. The helicopter was descending, preparing to land. Mercer was going to escape. After everything, after all the death and sacrifice, the monster was going to fly away. Not today. Ghost broke from cover and ran. Ghost, no! He didn't listen. He sprinted across the courtyard, bullets kicking up dust around his feet, and threw himself at the helicopter just as it touched down. Mercer's eyes went wide. Ghost grabbed him by the collar and hauled him out of the aircraft, slamming him into the ground. You're not going anywhere. Mercer laughed, even with a bloody nose and dust in his eyes. You think this changes anything? I'm one man. There are hundreds like me, thousands. You can't stop what's already in motion. Maybe not, but I can stop you. Ghost raised his fist, and then a gunshot. Pain exploded in his side. Ghost staggered, looking down at the blood spreading across his shirt. Behind him, one of Mercer's guards stood with a smoking pistol. Dad, that voice, that impossible voice. Ghost turned. Lily was running across the courtyard, ignoring the bullets, ignoring the danger. She must have followed them, must have refused to stay behind. Lily, no, get back. The guard swung his gun toward her. Ghost moved. He took the second bullet meant for his daughter, the impact spinning him around, dropping him to his knees. But Diesel was there. Diesel, who'd circled behind, who'd waited for the perfect moment. He hit the guard like a freight train, and the man didn't get up. Lily reached Ghost, catching him as he fell. Dad. Oh God, Dad. I'm okay. I'm okay. You're not okay. You're shot. Just a scratch. There's blood everywhere. Agent Chen's voice cut through the chaos, amplified by a bullhorn. Stand down. All hostile forces, stand down. You are surrounded. Reinforcements. Finally, FBI tactical teams pouring through the breached walls, securing positions, forcing Mercer's men to drop their weapons. It was over. Mercer lay in the dirt, hands zip-tied behind his back, staring up at Ghost with pure hatred. This isn't finished, he spat. I have lawyers, connections. I'll be out in a week. Ghost looked down at him, blood dripping from his wounds, his daughter holding him upright. No, you won't. Agent Chen approached her, face grim but triumphant. We got the servers, all of them, every transaction, every buyer, every name. She looked at Mercer. Your empire just collapsed, Mr. Mercer, and you're going to spend the rest of your life in a cell. Mercer's face went white. The children were being led to safety, now FBI agents wrapping them in blankets, carrying the smallest ones. Ghost watched them go, these broken little souls who had endured horrors no child should ever know. One of them, the boy from the cages, stopped and looked back. Thank you, he said. Thank you for coming. Ghost couldn't speak. He just nodded. Then his legs gave out. The next hours were a blur of sirens and shouting and the rhythmic beep of medical equipment. Ghost drifted in and out of consciousness, catching fragments of conversation. 2 bullets, one through and through one, lodged near the spine. He's lost a lot of blood. Is he going to make it? We're doing everything we can. When he finally woke fully, Lily was beside his bed. Her eyes were red from crying, but she smiled when she saw him looking at her. Hey, hero. Welcome back. How long? 18 hours. You scared the hell out of me. Sorry. You should be. She took his hand. The doctors say you're lucky. A few inches to the left and you'd be paralyzed. A few inches higher and you'd be dead. Always been lucky. No, Dad, you've always been stubborn. There's a difference. He tried to laugh, but it hurt too much. The children, all 15 are safe, reunited with their families or in protective custody while they find relatives. The boy you saved, his name is Marcus. He won't stop talking about the biker who rescued him. And Mercer, in federal custody, no bail. They're charging him with everything: trafficking, murder, racketeering. He's done, Dad. He's never getting out. Ghost closed his eyes. It was over. Finally over. There's someone else who wants to see you, Lily said. If you're up for it. Who? The door opened. Sarah Sullivan walked in, Emma holding her hand. The little girl's face lit up when she saw Ghost awake. Mr. Ghost, she ran to the bed, stopping just short of climbing on it. You got hurt, she said, her voice small. They said you got hurt saving the other kids. I'm okay, Emma, just a little banged up. I was scared. I thought maybe you wouldn't wake up. Takes more than a couple bullets to stop me. Sarah approached, tears in her eyes. I don't know how to thank you for everything you've done, for Emma, for those other children, for... Her voice broke. You almost died, for strangers, for children you'd never even met. They're not strangers. Not anymore. Sarah leaned down and kissed his forehead. You're a good man, Marcus Brennan. Whatever you think about yourself, whatever mistakes you have made, you're a good man. For the first time in longer than he could remember, Ghost believed it. Big John and the rest of the club arrived an hour later, filling the small hospital room with leather and noise and laughter. You crazy bastard, Big John said, gripping Ghost's hand. Running into a firefight like that, you could have gotten yourself killed. Had to be done. Yeah, well, next time give us a heads up so we can watch your back properly. There won't be a next time. Don't lie to me, Ghost. I've known you too long. You see a kid in trouble, you're going to help. That's just who you are now. Maybe he was right. Maybe this was who Ghost had always been, underneath the drinking and the self-destruction and the years of running from himself. A man who protected children. A man who stood up when others looked away. A man who finally found something worth living for. Diesel stepped forward, something in his hand. A small patch. Angel wings embroidered in silver thread. The club voted, he said, unanimous. We want you to wear this. A reminder of what we did, what we're going to keep doing. Ghost took the patch, turning it over in his fingers. I don't know what to say. Don't say anything, just get better. We've got work to do. That night, after everyone had gone, Ghost lay alone in the darkness. His phone buzzed. A text from an unknown number. His blood went cold. But when he opened it, the message wasn't from an enemy. Mr. Brennan, this is Marcus, the boy from the cages. The nurses let me borrow a phone. I just wanted to say thank you. My mom is here now. She's crying a lot, but they're happy tears. She thought she'd never see me again. But you came. You and your friends came and you saved us. I want to be brave like you when I grow up. I want to help people who can't help themselves. Thank you for showing me that heroes are real. Ghost read the message 3 times. Then he put the phone down and stared at the ceiling, tears streaming down his face. Heroes are real. Maybe they were. Maybe after all these years, he'd finally become one. 3 weeks passed before Ghost could walk without assistance. The doctors called it a miracle. 2 bullets, 18 hours of surgery, and enough blood loss to kill most men. But Ghost had survived. Stubborn, they said. Too stubborn to die. Lily had barely left his side. She'd taken leave from work, moved into the small apartment above the clubhouse, and spent every day at the hospital until the nurses threatened to give her a bed of her own. You need to go home, Ghost told her on the morning of his discharge. You have a life, a job. You can't put everything on hold for me. Watch me. Lily. Dad, I spent 7 years pretending you didn't exist. 7 years of missed birthdays and holidays and phone calls I was too angry to make. I'm not wasting any more time. She handed him his jacket, the leather worn soft from years of riding. Besides, someone has to make sure you don't do anything stupid while you're recovering. I don't do stupid things. You ran into a firefight against trained mercenaries with nothing but a rifle and sheer pig-headedness. That was strategic. That was insane. Ghost smiled despite himself. Maybe a little. The clubhouse had been transformed in his absence. Flowers covered every surface sent from families of the rescued children from strangers who'd seen the news coverage from people across the country who wanted to thank the bikers who'd risked everything for kids they'd never met. Big John met him at the door. Welcome home, brother. Place looks different. Yeah, well, turns out saving children from traffickers makes you popular. Who knew? The club members gathered around slapping Ghost back, carefully mindful of his wounds. These men, rough-tattooed, scarred by their own hard lives, looked at him differently now. With respect. With something close to reverence. All right, Ghost said, uncomfortable with the attention. Enough of that. What's been happening while I was laid up? A lot. Big John led him to the main room where a stack of newspapers sat on the table. Your famous Ghost, or infamous depending on who you ask. The headlines told the story. Biker gang rescues trafficking victims. Hell's Angels heroes or vigilantes. 15 children saved in daring raid. Ghost picked up one of the papers. His own face stared back at him from the front page, a photo taken at the compound, blood streaming down his arm, a child in his arms. When did they take this? One of the FBI guys had a body cam. Footage got leaked. Went viral within hours. Diesel stepped forward. There's more. The families want to meet you. All of them. They've been calling the clubhouse nonstop. I don't need thanks. It's not about what you need. It's about what they need. Closure. A chance to look in the eyes of the man who brought their babies home. Ghost set the paper down. Fine, set it up. But no cameras, no reporters, just the families. Already done. Saturday afternoon, here at the clubhouse. Lily appeared at his elbow. There's something else, Dad. Sarah's been asking about you. She wants to talk. Sarah Sullivan. She has an idea, something she wants to propose. She wouldn't tell me what, but she seemed excited. Ghost nodded slowly. Sarah, Emma, the beginning of all this. Tell her I'll come by tomorrow. The next morning, Ghost rode to Martha's ranch for the first time since the raid. His wounds protested every bump in the road, but he didn't care. He needed to see them, needed to know they were okay. Emma spotted him first. She came running down the porch steps, braids flying, and launched herself at him before he could even dismount. Mr. Ghost, you're back. Mommy said you were hurt, but you look okay now. Are you okay? Does it still hurt? Martha made pie. Do you want pie? Ghost laughed, scooping her up despite the pain in his side. Slow down, little one question at a time. Okay. Are you okay? I'm getting there. Good. She wrapped her arms around his neck. I missed you. I missed you too. Sarah watched from the porch, wiping her hands on her apron. She looked different, lighter, like a weight had been lifted from her shoulders. Marcus Brennan, walking and talking. The doctors must be impressed. They're using words like unprecedented recovery and medical anomaly. I think they're just saying I'm too ornery to die. Sarah smiled. That tracks. She gestured toward the door. Come inside. We need to talk. Martha was in the kitchen predictably. She nodded at Ghost but didn't stop stirring whatever was in the pot on the stove. Took you long enough. I was busy being shot. Excuses. Sarah sat across from Ghost at the kitchen table while Emma settled on his lap, playing with the buttons on his vest. I've been thinking, Sarah began, about everything that happened, about how you found Emma, how you saved those other children. And I can't stop asking myself, what if you hadn't been there? What if no one had recognized her signal? Someone else would have. No, they wouldn't. I've talked to the police, the FBI, the social workers. They all say the same thing. Most people don't know those signals exist. Most people wouldn't have done what you did even if they recognized it. Ghost shifted uncomfortably. What are you getting at, Sarah? She leaned forward, intensity burning in her eyes. I want to change that. I want to make sure that what happened to Emma, what almost happened, never happens to another child, and I need your help. My help, how? A foundation, a nonprofit dedicated to teaching people how to recognize trafficking signs, how to respond, how to save children like Emma. Sarah paused. I want to call it Emma's Angels, and I want you to be the face of it. Ghost stared at her. Me. You're a hero, Marcus. Whether you like it or not, people see you that way. Your story, the biker who saved a little girl, it's touched millions of people. If you stand up and say, learn these signals, watch for these signs, people will listen. I'm not a public speaker. You're exactly what we need. Someone real. Someone who's made mistakes and found redemption. Someone who proves that anyone can be a hero if they're willing to act. Emma tugged on his vest. Please, Mr. Ghost, so no more kids have to be scared like I was. Ghost looked at this child, this brave, broken, beautiful child who had reached out her hand in a truck stop and changed his entire life. How could he say no? Okay, Tom, he said quietly. I'll do it. Sarah's face lit up. Really? On one condition, the club has to be involved, all of them. We do this together or not at all. I was hoping you'd say that. Sarah reached into a folder beside her and pulled out a document. I've already drafted a partnership proposal. The Hells Angels as official ambassadors for Emma's Angels. Training truckers, bikers, travelers, anyone who spends time on the road to recognize and report trafficking. Ghost scanned the document. Professional, thorough. This woman had been busy. You've really thought this through. I've had 3 weeks with nothing to do but think and plan and dream about a world where no child has to suffer what Emma suffered. Martha set a cup of coffee in front of Ghost. She's been driving me crazy with this stuff. Morning, noon, and night, plans and projections and phone calls with lawyers. Martha's been helping with the legal framework, Sarah admitted. Turns out she used to be a civil rights attorney before she retired. Ghost nearly choked on his coffee. You what? Martha shrugged. Everyone's got a pass, boy. Now drink your coffee and stop looking so surprised. The club meeting that night was unlike any Ghost had attended in his 20 years as a member. He stood before his brothers, the partnership proposal in his hand, and laid out Sarah's vision. Training programs, awareness campaigns, a network of eyes and ears across every highway and truck stop in the country. This is crazy, Tank said. We're bikers, not social workers. We're also the people who rescued 15 children from a compound, Ghost replied. We proved we could do something nobody else could. This is a chance to keep doing it. What about our reputation, another member asked. We've got people who depend on us being feared, being respected. If we start wearing angel wings and doing charity work, then we'll be feared and respected for the right reasons. Big John's voice cut through the murmuring. I've been president of this chapter for 15 years. In that time, I've seen us do a lot of things. Some good, some not so good. But what Ghost did, what we all did at that compound, that's the proudest moment in our history. He stood his massive frame casting a shadow across the room. We've always said we protect our own. Well, those kids are our own now. Every child who goes missing, every family that gets torn apart, that's our business. Because if we don't step up, who will? The room fell silent. Then Diesel raised his hand. I'm in, Raven nodded. Same. Preacher stood. The Lord works through the perfect vessels. Maybe it's time we became one. One by one, hands went up around the room. 23 members, 23 votes, unanimous. Big John looked at Ghost. Well, brother, looks like you've got yourself an army. Saturday came faster than Ghost expected. The clubhouse had been cleaned up, not sanitized, but presentable. The families arrived in waves. Nervous parents, tearful grandparents, children who flinched at loud noises and clung to their guardians like life preservers. Ghost stood near the door greeting each family personally, shaking hands, accepting hugs, listening to stories he wished he could unhear. Marcus, the boy from the cages, the one who texted him in the hospital, arrived with his mother, a tired-looking woman who burst into tears the moment she saw Ghost. "Thank you," she kept saying. "Thank you, thank you, thank you." "He's a brave kid," Ghost said, looking at Marcus. "He kept the other children calm while we got them out. You should be proud of him." Marcus ducked his head, embarrassed but pleased. "Can I show you something?" he asked Ghost quietly. "Sure." The boy pulled a folded piece of paper from his pocket and handed it over. Ghost opened it to find a crayon drawing. A man on a motorcycle surrounded by smaller figures with smiling faces. Above them, in shaky letters, "My hero." Ghost's throat tightened. "This is really good, Marcus. I'm going to be like you when I grow up. Help people who can't help themselves. You don't need to wait until you grow up. You can help people right now just by being brave, just by being kind." Marcus smiled, a real smile, the first one Ghost had seen from him. "Okay, I will." Sophie's family came next. Her parents, her older sister, her grandmother who walked with a cane but moved like she was ready for war. "We searched for 3 months," Sophie's father said, his voice cracking. "3 months of dead ends and false leads and police officers who told us to prepare for the worst. And then you..." He broke down, unable to continue. His wife stepped forward. "What my husband is trying to say is that you gave us our daughter back, our whole world. We can never repay that." "You don't have to repay anything," Ghost said. "Just take care of her, love her. That's enough." Sophie tugged on her father's sleeve. "Daddy, that's him. That's the man who carried me out." She walked up to Ghost and held out her arms. He knelt down and let her hug him, her small body trembling. "I had bad dreams every night," she whispered. "But Mommy said you're keeping all the bad people away now. Is that true?" "That's true." "Promise?" Ghost thought of Rico, of the bullets in his side, of everything he'd sacrificed to get to this moment. "Promise." The last family to arrive was different, a woman alone clutching a photograph to her chest. She was thin, fragile-looking, with eyes that had seen too much grief. "Mr. Brennan?" "That's me." "My name is Linda Torres. My son was one of the children in that compound. Miguel. He's 7. Ghost remembered Miguel, a quiet boy who hadn't spoken a word during the entire rescue, who had followed Ghost out of that basement like a silent shadow. "Is he okay? Is he here?" Linda shook her head slowly. Tears spilled down her cheeks. "He passed away 3 days after you saved him. His heart, they said the trauma was too much. Too many months of fear and starvation. His little heart just gave out." The words hit Ghost like a physical blow. "I'm so sorry. I'm so..." "No." Linda grabbed his hand. "Don't you dare apologize. You gave me 3 days with my baby. 3 days I wouldn't have had otherwise. 3 days to hold him. To tell him I loved him. To say goodbye." She was sobbing now, but her grip on his hand never wavered. "Those men took my son 9 months ago. For 9 months I didn't know if he was alive or dead. I prayed every night that someone would find him. Someone would bring him home. And you did. You brought him back to me. Even if it was only for 3 days." Her voice broke completely. "Those were the most precious 3 days of my life." Ghost couldn't speak, couldn't move. The weight of her grief pressed down on him like a physical force. "I brought something for you." Linda released his hand and opened her purse. She pulled out a small object, a toy car, red and battered. This was Miguel's favorite. He was holding it when he died. "I want you to have it." "I can't. Please, so you'll remember him. So when you save other children, and I know you'll carry a piece of my boy with you." Ghost took the car. It was warm from being held against her heart. "I'll carry him. He said, his voice rough. "I'll carry him always." Linda hugged him then, a fierce, desperate embrace that said everything words couldn't. And when she finally let go, Ghost understood something he hadn't before. This wasn't just about saving lives, it was about honoring the ones he couldn't save. Every child he helped from now on would be a tribute to Miguel, to Rico, to everyone who'd been lost along the way. That night, alone in his room at the clubhouse, Ghost placed the toy car on his nightstand next to Emma's angel charm. His phone buzzed. "Lily, how are you holding up?" He didn't know how to answer that. How did you hold up after meeting a mother who'd lost her child, after carrying the weight of everyone's gratitude and grief? "I'm here," he typed back. That's something. Dinner tomorrow, Giovanni's. We never did get that meal. Ghost smiled despite everything. Tomorrow, 7 p.m., I'll be there. Good, I have news. That big thing I mentioned. Remember. I remember. Tomorrow, I'll tell you everything. Ghost stared at the phone for a long moment. Whatever Lily's news was, it would have to wait. Tonight, he had Ghost to wrestle with, memories to process, a heart to put back together. He lay back on his bed and closed his eyes. Sleep came eventually, and with it, dreams of children running through fields of sunlight, safe, free, alive. Giovanni's was exactly how Ghost remembered it. Red checkered tablecloths, candles in wine bottles, the smell of garlic and fresh bread. Lily was already there when he arrived, seated at a corner table, nervous energy radiating off her in waves. Dad, she stood, hugged him carefully. You look better. Feel better, mostly. They sat, ordered wine, made small talk about the weather and the food and everything except what they were both thinking. Finally, Lily set down her glass. I need to tell you something, and I need you to not freak out. That's not reassuring. I know, but just let me get through it. Okay. Ghost nodded. Lily took a deep breath. I'm pregnant. The words didn't register at first. Then they did. You're 14 weeks. I found out right before the truck stop incident. I was going to tell you that day, but then everything happened and you're pregnant. Yes. I'm going to be a grandfather. Yes. Ghost sat back in his chair, overwhelmed. The father, oh. His name is James. He's a good man, a teacher. We've been together for 2 years. Lily paused. I didn't tell you about him because we weren't talking. But he knows about you. He knows everything. And he still wanted to meet me. He wanted to meet you before all this, after what you did at the compound. Lily smiled. He says anyone who'd take 2 bullets for strangers is probably a decent grandfather. Ghost felt tears pricking at his eyes. Grandfather. He was going to be a grandfather. Is it a boy or a girl? We don't know yet. We wanted to be surprised. Lily reached across the table and took his hand. I want you in this child's life, Dad. Really in it. Not like before. Not just birthday cards and phone calls that never come. I want that too, more than anything. Then promise me. Promise me you'll be there. For the baby, for me, for all of it. Ghost squeezed her hand. I promise. I'm done running. I'm done hiding. Whatever comes next, I'm here for good. Lily's eyes filled with tears. That's all I ever wanted to hear. They ate dinner slowly, talking about the future. Baby names, nursery colors, whether a motorcycle was appropriate transportation for a car seat. Absolutely not, Lily said firmly. What if I got a sidecar? Dad? Kidding, mostly. When the check came, Ghost insisted on paying. Let me do this, please. It's the first thing I've been able to give you in 7 years. Lily relented. Fine, but I'm getting dessert next time. Deal. They walked out into the cool night air, arm in arm. Thank you, Lily said, for saying yes, for being willing to try again. Thank you for giving me the chance. She hugged him one more time, fierce and warm. I love you, Dad. I love you too, baby girl. I love you too. The foundation launch happened 3 months later. It was bigger than Ghost had expected. News cameras everywhere, politicians making speeches, families of rescued children standing in solidarity. Sarah stood at the podium, radiant in a blue dress, Emma by her side. Today, we announced the official launch of Emma's Angels, she said, her voice carrying across the crowd. A foundation dedicated to training communities to recognize and respond to child trafficking. Our goal is simple: no more stolen children, no more families torn apart, no more silence. The applause was thunderous. Then Sarah gestured toward the side of the stage. None of this would be possible without one man, a man who saw a little girl's hand raised in a truck stop and chose to act. A man who risked everything, his freedom, his safety, his life, to bring 15 children home. Please welcome the co-founder of Emma's Angels and my personal hero, Marcus Ghost Brennan. Ghost walked out on stage, his brothers behind him. 23 Hells Angels in full colors, each wearing the silver angel wing patch on their vests. The crowd went wild. Ghost approached the microphone, uncomfortable with the attention, but determined to see this through. "I'm not good at speeches," he began, "so I'll have to keep this short. 4 months ago, I was a broken man with nothing to live for. Then I met a little girl named Emma. She taught me that one person can make a difference. One moment of courage can change everything." He looked at Emma, who beamed up at him from her mother's side. "I can't undo the mistakes I've made. Can't take back the years I wasted. But I can do something with the time I've got left. We all can. Every one of us has the power to be someone's hero, to see what others miss, to act when others freeze." Ghost paused, gathering himself. "This foundation isn't about me. It's about the children. The ones we saved and the ones still waiting. It's about building a world where no child has to signal for help because help is already there." He stepped back. The applause swelled. And in the front row, Lily sat with tears streaming down her face, one hand resting on her growing belly. After the ceremony, Emma found Ghost in the crowd. "Mr. Ghost." "Hey, little one, you did great up there. I was scared, but Mommy said brave people are scared all the time. They just do it anyway. Your mommy's a smart woman." Iman reached into her pocket. "I made something for you." She handed him a bracelet. Small beads strung together, alternating pink and white with a single silver angel charm in the center. "I made it myself. Martha showed me how. It's for good luck, so you never get hurt again." Ghost knelt down and let her tie the bracelet around his wrist. "I'll wear it always." "Promise, promise." Emma threw her arms around his neck. "Thank you for saving me, Mr. Ghost. Thank you for being real." Ghost held her tight, breathing in the scent of her shampoo, feeling the warmth of her small body against his. This was why he'd survived, why he'd fought, why he'd changed. Not for glory, not for recognition, for this child, for all children, for the chance to make the world a little safer, one rescue at a time. "You're welcome, Emma," he whispered. "You're so welcome." He looked up at the sky, blue and endless, and full of possibility. Somewhere up there, he liked to think Rico was watching, and Miguel, and all the souls who'd been lost along the way. He touched the toy car in his pocket, the angel charm on his bracelet, the patch on his vest, symbols of what he'd gained, what he'd lost, what he'd become. Marcus Ghost Brennan had spent most of his life running from himself. But standing here surrounded by family and brothers, in the faces of children he'd helped save, he finally understood something. He wasn't running anymore. He was home. 1 year changed everything. The foundation grew faster than anyone anticipated. What started as a small nonprofit in Nevada expanded to 12 states within 8 months. Truckers, bikers, bus drivers, gas station attendants, thousands of people trained to recognize the signs, to spot the signals, to act. Ghost traveled constantly, speaking at conferences, training volunteers, meeting with law enforcement agencies who'd once viewed the Hells Angels as enemies. 6 months ago, you would have arrested me on sight. Ghost told a room full of police officers in Oklahoma. "Oh, now we're on the same team? Funny how that works." "Not funny, Bashkam," the police chief replied. "Necessary. You see things we don't, go places we can't. Together we're more effective than either of us alone." It was a partnership nobody had predicted. Badges and leather vests working side by side. Old grudges set aside for something bigger than any of them. The numbers proved it was working. In Emma's Angels' first year, their network helped identify and rescue 47 children. 47 families made whole again. 47 monsters brought to justice. But Ghost knew better than to celebrate. For every child saved, dozens more were still out there, still waiting, still hoping someone would see their raised hand. The work was never done. Lily's baby came on a Tuesday in March. Ghost was in Texas when he got the call, 300 miles from the hospital in Reno. He broke every speed limit, getting there, his heart pounding the entire way. James met him in the waiting room, looking exhausted but elated. "She's asking for you." "Is she okay? Is the baby?" "Everyone's fine. Perfect, actually. Go see for yourself." Ghost pushed through the door and stopped. Lily lay in the hospital bed, pale and tired but radiant. And in her arms, wrapped in a blue blanket, was the smallest human being Ghost had ever seen. "Dad," Lily's voice was thick with emotion. Come meet your grandson. Ghost approached slowly, afraid to breathe too hard. The baby was impossibly tiny, red-faced and wrinkled with a shock of dark hair and his mother's nose. His name is Marcus, Lily said. Marcus James Sullivan, after you and James, if that's okay. Ghost couldn't speak. His grandson, named after him, this perfect, innocent creature who had no idea what his grandfather had been, what he'd done, what he'd overcome. Can I hold him? Of course. Lily placed the baby in his arms. Ghost cradled him against his chest, terrified and overwhelmed, and filled with a love so fierce it hurt. Hey, little guy, he whispered. I'm your grandpa. I know I don't look like much, but I'm going to spend the rest of my life making sure you grow up in a world worth living in. That's my promise to you. The baby yawned, tiny fist curling against his blanket. He's beautiful, Lily. He's absolutely beautiful. He is. She reached out and touched Ghost's weathered hand. You know, I used to wonder what kind of grandfather you'd be, if you'd even be around. But now, she smiled through her tears, now I know he's going to have the best grandpa in the world. Ghost stayed at the hospital until visiting hours ended, then came back first thing in the morning. He spent hours just sitting with Lily and the baby, watching this new life sleep and stretch and cry. It was the most peaceful he'd felt in years. But peace, Ghost had learned, never lasted long. The call came 3 days later. Agent Chen's voice was tight with urgency. Brennan, we've got a situation. I need you in Phoenix now. What's going on? Mercer's network. We thought we dismantled it, but we missed something. A backup operation. They've taken 8 children from a group home in Arizona. We have 48 hours before they're moved across the border. Ghost's blood ran cold. 8 children. Ages 4 to 12. They hit the grow house last night. Professional job. In and out in under 5 minutes. How is that possible? Mercer's in prison. His people are scattered. Someone rebuilt it. Someone we didn't know about. Chen paused. Ghost, we need you on this. Your network, your contacts, your instincts. The FBI can't do this alone. Ghost looked at Lily sleeping in her hospital bed, at baby Marcus in the bassinet beside her. He'd promised to be different, promised to be present, promised not to run off chasing ghosts anymore. But 8 children, 8 lives hanging in the balance. I'll be there in 6 hours. He called Big John from the road. Emergency situation, 8 kids taken in Phoenix. Mercer's people or what's left of them. Damn, I thought we'd shut them down. So did I, but someone's picking up where he left off. What do you need, everyone? Every brother who can ride. This isn't just a rescue. This is a message. We end this once and for all. Understood. We'll meet you in Phoenix. Ghost hung up and pushed the throttle harder. Behind him, the sun was setting. Ahead, darkness waited. But Ghost wasn't afraid of the dark anymore. The Phoenix FBI field office was chaos when Ghost arrived. Agents rushing everywhere. Phones ringing constantly. A massive board covered with photos and documents and red string connecting the pieces. Agent Chen met him at the door. Thank you for coming. Fill me in. She led him to the board. 8 photographs, 8 children, 8 faces frozen in school picture smiles. They hit the Sunrise group home at 2 a.m., cut the power, disabled the alarms, had the kids loaded into vans before anyone even knew what was happening. Inside job. We think so. One of the staff members disappeared the same night. Woman named Patricia Vance. We're running her background now. Ghost studied the photos. The oldest was a boy named Tyler, 12 years old. The youngest was a girl named Mia, 4 years old. Same age Emma had been when Vincent Crane grabbed her at that truck stop. What's our timeline? Based on the pattern from Mercer's operation, they'll hold the children locally for 24 hours maximum. After that, they move to a staging area near the border. Once they cross into Mexico, we lose them. Then we have less than 24 hours. Less than that, we've already burned 12 tracking down dead ends. Ghost turned to face her. What do you have any leads at all? Chen hesitated. 1, but you're not going to like it. Try me. Mercer wants to talk. The federal prison was 2 hours away. Ghost made the drive alone, ignoring the protests from Chen and his brothers. This was something he had to do himself. Mercer was waiting in an interview room, hands cuffed to the table orange jumpsuit hanging off his diminished frame. Prison hadn't been kind to him. He'd lost weight, lost color, lost the arrogant smirk that had defined him. But his eyes were the same, cold, calculating, predatory. "Mr. Brennan, how nice of you to visit." Ghost sat across from him. "Talk. No pleasantries, no catching up. I'm hurt. 8 children are missing. You have information. Start talking or I walk out that door and leave you to rot." Mercer leaned back, chains rattling. "Why would I help you after everything you did to me?" "Because helping me is the only card you have left to play. You're facing life without parole. Multiple counts of trafficking, kidnapping, conspiracy to commit murder. The only way you see daylight again is if you cooperate. And if I do what's in it for me, I don't make deals, but Agent Chen does. You give us what we need to save those kids and she'll talk to the prosecutor. Reduced sentence, better facility, maybe even a window." Mercer was quiet for a long moment. "You ruined me, you know. Everything I built. Decades of work. Gone in a single night because some washed-up biker decided to play hero. Those were children, not commodities. Everything is a commodity, Mr. Brennan. Children, adults, information." Mercer smiled thinly. "Even redemption. Is that what you're selling redemption in?" "I'm selling survival, because whether you believe it or not, we're on the same side now." Ghost leaned forward. "Explain." "The person who took over my network, I know who they are. I know how they operate. I know where they take those children." "Then tell me." "It's not that simple. This person, they're not like me. I was careful, methodical. They're reckless, driven by something worse than greed." "What?" Mercer's eyes darkened. "Revenge. Against you. Against everything you've built. Those children weren't random targets, Mr. Brennan. They were chosen specifically because of their connection to group homes that Emma's Angels has partnered with." Ghost went cold. "This is about me. This is about destroying everything you care about, making you watch helplessly as children die because of choices you made." "Who is it? Who's behind this?" Mercer smiled. "Do we have a deal?" Ghost wanted to reach across the table and throttle him, but he forced himself to stay calm. "You help us save those kids and I'll personally advocate for your sentence reduction. My word, my reputation, everything I've built over the past year." Mercer studied him for a long moment. Then he nodded. "Her name is Patricia Vance, but that's not her real name. Her real name is Patricia Crane, Vincent's sister." The world tilted. Vincent Crane, the man who'd taken Emma, the man Ghost had stopped at that truck stop, the man who'd been killed in prison before he could stand trial. "She blames you for his death," Mercer continued. "When Vincent was killed, she swore revenge. She spent months infiltrating my network, learning everything she could. When I went down, she saw her opportunity. Where would she take the children? There's an old meat packing plant outside Tucson, abandoned for years. Vincent used to use it as a way station before I brought him into my organization. Patricia knows it well. If she's following his playbook, that's where she'll be." Ghost stood. "If you're lying..." "I'm not lying, Mr. Brennan. I have nothing left to gain from lies. But do me a favor." "What?" "When you find her, make sure she knows who sent you. I want her to understand that even from prison, Dominic Mercer is still more powerful than she'll ever be." Ghost didn't respond. He was already walking out the door. The convoy assembled outside Tucson at midnight. 18 Hells Angels. A dozen FBI tactical agents. 3 helicopters circling overhead. The largest operation Emma's Angels had ever coordinated. Ghost stood at the center of the meatpacking plant, visible in the distance. "We've got one chance at this," Agent Chen said. "If Patricia realizes we're coming, she'll kill those children and disappear. We need to be fast, quiet, and precise." "My brothers will take the perimeter," Ghost said. "No one gets in or out. Your teams hit the main building. I go for Patricia." "That's not protocol." "I don't care about protocol. She wants me. That's why she did this. If I can draw her attention, keep her focused on me, your people can get the kids out safely." Chen hesitated. "You're using yourself as bait." "I'm doing what needs to be done." Big John stepped forward. "I don't like this, Ghost. You walk in there alone, you might not walk out. Then make sure you finish what I start. He looked at his brothers, these men who'd become his family, who'd stood with him through everything. Whatever happens tonight, I want you all to know something. This past year, riding with you, fighting with you, building something real, it's been the best year of my life. Every single one of you made me better than I was, made me want to be better than I am. Diesel cleared his throat. Save the speeches for after, old man. We've got kids to save. Ghost smiled. Yeah, we do. He started walking toward the plant. Behind him, his brothers fell into formation. Silent, deadly, ready. The meatpacking plant was a maze of rusted machinery and rotting catwalks. Ghost moved through it alone, every sense on high alert. He could hear movement above him, voices, children crying. Patricia. His voice echoed through the empty space. Patricia Crane, I know you're here. I know what you want. Silence. Then a woman's voice amplified by the acoustics. Marcus Brennan, the hero, the savior, the man who destroyed my family. Your brother was a monster. My brother was all I had. Patricia stepped into view on a catwalk above a gun in her hand. She was thin, wiry, with the same cold eyes as Vincent. He raised me after our parents died, protected me when no one else would, and you took him from me. He was trafficking children. He would have sold Emma Sullivan to the highest bidder. He was surviving. We were surviving. And then you, some burned-out biker with a death wish, you decided to play hero. You ruined everything. Where are the children, Patricia? You want them. She laughed high and unstable. They're here, 8 little lives depending on what happens in the next 5 minutes. Let them go. This is between you and me. No, this is about justice. You took someone from me. Now I take something from you. Your legacy, your precious foundation. When those children die, everyone will know it's because of you, because you couldn't save them, because you're not a hero. You're just a thug in a leather vest who got lucky. Ghost kept moving, trying to pinpoint her location. Your brother made his choices. He paid the price. Killing innocent children won't bring him back. But it will destroy you, and that's enough. A door burst open behind Patricia. FBI agents flooded onto the catwalk. She spun, gun raised. Put it down, Agent Chen shouted. It's over, Patricia. It's not over until I say it's over. Patricia aimed at the agents. Ghost saw her finger tighten on the trigger. He didn't think, he just moved. The stairs were 20 feet away. He covered them in seconds, launching himself at Patricia as the gun went off. They crashed together onto the metal grating, the weapon skittering away. Patricia fought like a wild animal, scratching, biting, screaming, but Ghost had 60 pounds on her and 20 years of fighting experience. He pinned her arms, pressing her flat against the catwalk. It's over, he said, breathing hard. It's done. Kill me, she screamed. Kill me like you killed Vincent. I didn't kill your brother. His own choices killed him. And I'm not going to let his mistakes destroy you too. Agents swarmed around them, pulling Patricia away in handcuffs. She kept screaming, kept thrashing, but it was finished. Ghost sat back against the railing, exhausted. Chen appeared beside him. The children, being extracted now, all 8 accounted for, scared but alive. Ghost closed his eyes. 8 children, safe. Because they'd moved fast enough. Because they'd worked together. Because one tip from the last person he'd expected had made all the difference. You took a hell of a risk, Chen said. Worth it. Was it? Ghost opened his eyes and looked at her. Every time. Every single time. The aftermath was a blur of flashing lights and paramedic blankets and tearful reunions. Ghost watched from a distance as children were loaded into ambulances, as agents processed the scene, as Patricia Crane was driven away to face justice. Diesel found him sitting on the hood of an SUV, staring at nothing. Hell of a night. Yeah. You okay? Ghost considered the question. His ribs ached from the fall. His knuckles were scraped raw. Every muscle in his body screamed for rest. But those children were alive. Those families would be whole again. I'm okay, he said. I'm really okay. His phone buzzed. A text from Lily. Saw the news. Are you safe? Safe, coming home. Good. Marcus is asking for his grandpa. Well, he's crying, but I choose to interpret that as asking for his grandpa. Ghost smiled. Tell him I'm on my way. The ride home took 6 hours. Ghost stopped at the hospital first just as dawn was breaking. Lily was awake, baby Marcus nursing contentedly. You look terrible, she said. Thanks. I mean it. Did you even sleep? Not yet, but I will. He sat beside her bed, reaching out to touch his grandson's tiny hand. We saved them, Lily, all 8. They're going home to their families. I saw, it's all over the news. Biker hero rescues 8 children. You're famous again. I don't want to be famous. I just want to make a difference. You have Dad. You are. Lily shifted the baby in her arms. Do you remember what you said to me that first day at the hospital, when you held Marcus for the first time? I said a lot of things. You said you were going to spend the rest of your life making sure he grows up in a world worth living in. That's what you did last night. That's what you do every day. Ghost's throat tightened. I spent so many years being the wrong kind of man. Hurting people, hurting myself, hurting you. Sometimes I wonder if I can ever really make up for that. You can't erase the past, but you can write a different future. Lily reached out and took his hand. And that's exactly what you're doing. One child at a time, one rescue at a time, one day at a time. The Foundation's 1-year anniversary gala was held on a Saturday evening in Las Vegas. 500 guests filled the ballroom. Donors, volunteers, law enforcement partners, families of rescued children. The biggest gathering Emma's Angels had ever hosted. Ghost stood backstage adjusting his tie for the 5th time. Stop fidgeting, Sarah said, appearing beside him. You look fine. I hate ties. You hate anything that isn't a leather vest. But tonight you're a co-founder, not a road captain. Act accordingly. Ghost grumbled, but left the tie alone. Where's Emma? With Lily and the baby. She's appointed herself official babysitter, very serious about her duties. The thought made Ghost smile. Emma, who'd started all of this with one raised hand, now inseparable from his grandson. Life had strange ways of connecting people. You ready for your speech? Sarah asked. No. Good. Authenticity is more powerful than polish. She straightened his jacket. Remember what we talked about. The mission, the impact, the future, and for God's sake, don't cry. I don't cry. You cried at Emma's birthday party. There was a lot of dust. Sure there was. The stage lights were blinding. Ghost walked to the podium, 500 faces staring up at him. He took a breath. 1 year ago, I was a broken man, lost, purposeless, convinced that my best days were behind me and my worst mistakes defined me. He paused. Then I walked into a truck stop for coffee and I met a 6-year-old girl named Emma. He found Emma in the crowd sitting next to Lily, bouncing baby Marcus on her knee. Emma raised her hand that day, palm open, finger spread, a silent signal that said, help me. And I had a choice. Walk away like I'd done so many times before, or step up and be the man I'd always wanted to be. The room was silent. I chose to step up, not because I'm brave, not because I'm special, but because I finally understood something my father tried to teach me before he died. He said, the measure of a man isn't how many times he falls. It's how many times he gets up and reaches back to help someone else. Ghost gripped the podium. In the past year, Emma's Angels has helped rescue 78 children. 78 lives saved. 78 families made whole. But those numbers don't capture what this work really means. They don't capture the terror in a child's eyes when they think no one's coming. They don't capture the moment when a mother holds her baby for the first time in months. They don't capture the weight that lifts off a father's shoulders when he learns his daughter is safe. He looked at his brothers, seated together in the 3rd row. Big John, Diesel, Raven, Preacher, men who'd stood with him through everything. I didn't do this alone. Every rescue, every training, every mile of highway patrolled, that was a team effort. Law enforcement partners who chose cooperation over conflict. Volunteers who gave their time and hearts. And my brothers in the Hells Angels who proved that the roughest exteriors can hide the gentlest souls. The applause started, but Ghost raised his hand. I'm not finished. He took another breath. Tonight I want to announce something new. An expansion of our mission. Starting next month, Emma's Angels will launch a national training program for foster parents and group home staff. We're calling it the First Responders Initiative because the adults closest to vulnerable children should be the first line of defense, not the last. More applause. Ghost waited for it to subside. We're also establishing a survivor support fund, medical care, therapy, education, everything these children need to rebuild their lives. Because rescue is just the beginning. The real work is helping them heal. He looked at Sarah, who was crying openly now. None of this would exist without Sarah Sullivan. Her vision, her determination, her refusal to accept that her daughter's nightmare was unique. Sarah saw what others missed, that a tragedy could become a movement, that pain could transform into purpose. Sarah waved away his praise, but the crowd was on their feet. And Emma, Ghost's voice caught. Emma, who started all of this with one raised hand, who taught me that courage isn't the absence of fear. It's action in spite of fear. Emma, you saved my life that day. You gave me something to fight for, something to live for. Emma grinned up at him, that same fearless smile she'd given him in the truck stop parking lot 1 year ago. I want to close with a promise, Ghost said. Not to you, but to every child still out there waiting to be seen, waiting to be saved, waiting for someone to recognize their signal. He leaned into the microphone. We see you, we're coming, and we will never ever stop. The ballroom erupted. Later that night, after the speeches and the toasts and the endless handshakes, Ghost found himself on the hotel balcony, alone with the stars. Emma appeared beside him, somehow escaping her mother's watchful eye. Mr. Ghost. Hey, little one, shouldn't you be in bed? Probably. She climbed onto the chair beside him, her legs dangling. That was a good speech. You think so? Yeah, made Mommy cry, made Lily cry too. Even the big, scary bikers looked like they were crying. They'd never admit it. I know. Emma was quiet for a moment. Can I ask you something? Anything. Do you ever think about what would have happened if you hadn't been there that day? At the truck stop, Ghost had thought about it many times, the what-ifs that haunted every rescue. Sometimes. I think about it too, when I can't sleep. Emma pulled her knees to her chest. I think about what that man was going to do to me, where he was going to take me. And then I think about you, walking down that aisle, seeing my hand. Emma, I'm not scared when I think about it anymore, because I know how the story ends. I know that you came, that you saved me, that everything bad led to something good. She looked up at him. Is that weird? No, baby girl, that's not weird. That's faith. Faith in what? Ghost considered the question. A year ago, he would have said nothing, would have dismissed faith as a crutch for people too weak to face reality. But now, faith in people, he said finally. Both that when someone raises their hand for help, somebody will reach back. That's what you taught me, Emma. That's the most important thing I've ever learned. Emma smiled and leaned against his arm. I'm glad you learned it, because I think there are a lot more kids out there who need someone to reach back. I think you're right. Will you keep helping them forever? Ghost put his arm around her small shoulders, this child who had changed everything. Forever, he promised. As long as I'm breathing, I'll keep reaching back. They sat together in comfortable silence, watching the stars wheel overhead. Somewhere out there, a child was being taken. A family was being torn apart. A monster was getting away with the unspeakable. But somewhere else, a trucker was remembering his training and making a call. A gas station attendant was noticing something wrong and speaking up. A biker was stopping his ride because he'd seen a hand signal through a window. The network was growing, the movement was spreading, and every day more children were being saved. Ghost touched the angel charm on his bracelet, the toy car in his pocket, the patch on his vest. Miguel, Rico, every soul lost along the way. He carried them all, not as weights, as wings. The next morning, Ghost rode out to Martha's ranch one last time. The old woman was on her porch, as always, shotgun across her knees. You look different, she said as he approached. Different how? Lighter, like you finally put down whatever you've been carrying. Ghost sat beside her, looking out at the desert, stretching endless in every direction. I came to say thank you for everything you did, for Sarah and Emma, for the legal work, for believing in this when nobody else would. Don't thank me. I'm old and bored. You gave me something to do. Martha. I mean it. She turned to look at him. But I'm glad it worked out. Glad you found what you were looking for. I wasn't looking for anything. Yes, you were. You just didn't know it. She smiled, those sharp eyes softening for just a moment. You were looking for redemption, for purpose, for proof that you could be more than your worst mistakes. And did I find it? Boy, you built it, with your own two hands. That's better than finding it could ever be. Ghost rode back to the clubhouse as the sun climbed high. His brothers were waiting. A new mission, a new child to find, another family to make whole. He threw his leg over his motorcycle and started the engine. The road stretched out before him, endless with possibility. Behind him, everything he'd been. The drinking, the self-destruction, the years of running from himself. Ahead of him, everything he'd become. A father reconnected, a grandfather adored, a founder, a leader, a man who reached back when others raised their hands. Ghost touched the angel charm one final time. Then he rode toward the sun, his brothers beside him, ready for whatever came next. Because Marcus Ghost Brennan had finally learned the truth that had eluded him for 53 years. The past doesn't define you, your choices do, and every single day you get to choose again. He chose to fight, to protect, to serve. He chose to be the man his daughter needed, the grandfather his grandson deserved, the hero that children could believe in. He chose redemption, not once, not as a single moment of transformation, but every day, every hour, every mile of highway ridden, and every hand reached back. Redemption wasn't a destination, it was a road, and Ghost would ride it until his last breath. The desert wind carried him forward, and for the first time in his entire life, Marcus Ghost Brennan knew exactly who he was and exactly why he was here. Not a monster, not a saint, just a man who saw a little girl raise her hand and chose to answer.